Download this code from codegive.com, link in the description below. OK, let's dive into a comprehensive tutorial on how to remove and view data using JSON, HTML, and jQuery, focusing on data storage and dynamic manipulation within the browser. Core concepts. *JSON, JavaScript object notation, a lightweight data interchange format that's easy for humans to read and write, and easy for machines to parse and generate. We'll use it to represent our data. *HTML, hypertext markup language, the structure of our web page, defining the elements where we'll display and interact with our data. *jQuery, a fast, small, and feature-rich JavaScript library that simplifies HTML DOM manipulation, event handling, animation, and ajax. It makes working with the DOM much easier. *Local storage, browser storage, a web browser feature that allows web applications to store data locally within the user's browser. This data persists even after the browser is closed and reopened, until explicitly cleared. We'll use this to store and retrieve our JSON data. Tutorial outline. 1. Project setup. Create an HTML file, index.html. Include the jQuery library. You can download it or use a CDN, Content Delivery Network. Create a JavaScript file, script.js, for your jQuery code. 2. HTML structure. Create the basic HTML layout, a container to display the data, buttons for add, view, and delete, and perhaps a form to add new data entries. 3. Data structure, JSON. Define the structure of your JSON data. For example, you might have an array of objects, where each object represents a person with properties like ID, name, age, and email. 4. Storing data, local storage. Write functions to save JSON data to local storage and to retrieve it. Handle the initial case where local storage might be empty. 5. Viewing data, displaying. Write a function to read the JSON data from local storage and dynamically create HTML elements to display it on the page. Use jQuery to append these elements to the data container. 6. Removing data, deleting. Add delete buttons to each data entry. When a delete button is clicked, get the ID of the data entry to remove. Retrieve the JSON data from local storage. Filter the data array to remove the object with the matching ID. Save the updated JSON data back to local storage. Refresh the display to reflect the changes. 7. Adding data, optional. Implement a form that allows users to enter new data. On form submission, gather the data, create a new JSON object, add it to the array, save to local storage, and refresh the display. Code example. Explanation. 1. Project setup. The HTML includes jQuery from a CDN and links to your script.js file. It also includes Bootstrap for styling and Font Awesome for the delete icon, making the page more visually appealing. 2. HTML structure. The HTML defines a form for adding new data and a div with the ID data container where the data will be displayed. 3. Data_key. This constant stores the key we'll use to access the data in local storage, example local storage.getItem, my_JSON_data. Using a constant makes it easier to change later. 4. GetData, function asterisk. Retrieves the JSON data from local storage using local storage.getItem. Parses the JSON string into a JavaScript array using json.parse. If there's no data in local storage, it returns an empty array. 5. Save data, function asterisk. Asterisk converts the JavaScript array, your data, into a JSON string using json.stringify. Asterisk saves the JSON string to local storage using local storage.setItem. 6. Display data, function asterisk. Asterisk gets the data using getData. Asterisk selects the data container element using jQuery, $data container. Asterisk clears any existing content in the container using .empty. This prevents duplicate data from being displayed each time the function is called. Asterisk if the data array is empty, it displays a no data available message. Asterisk it loops through the data array using for each item in the array. Asterisk it creates a div with the class data_item. Asterisk it creates paragraphs, p, to display the item's properties, name, age, email. It uses template literals, for easy string concatenation. Asterisk it creates a delete button, with the class delete button. Asterisk it uses .data, id, item.id, to associate the ID of the data item with the delete button. This is crucial for knowing which item to delete when the button is clicked. Asterisk it appends the paragraphs and the delete button to the data item div. Asterisk finally, it appends the data item div to the data container. 7. Delete button event handling asterisk. Asterisk $data container, .on, click, .delete button, function, attaches a click event handler to any element with the class delete button within the data container. This is important because the delete buttons are dynamically added. Asterisk inside the event handler. Asterisk $this, .data, id, retrieves the ID that was stored on the button using .data. $this, refers to the button that was clicked. Asterisk it gets the data from local storage. Asterisk it uses the .filter method to create a new array containing only the items whose ID does not match the ID to delete. Asterisk it saves the updated data back to local storage using save data. Asterisk it calls display data to refresh the display. 8. Add form handling asterisk. Asterisk $add form, .submit, function, event, attaches a submit event handler to the form. Asterisk event.prevent default, prevents the form from submitting in the default way, which would reload the page. Asterisk it gets the values from the input fields using $name, $val, $age, $val, and $email, $val. Asterisk it checks if all the fields are filled in. Asterisk it gets the data from local storage. Asterisk it generates a new unique ID using date.now. This is a simple way to generate a unique ID, but in a real application, you might use a more robust method, example a UUID library, or have the server generate the ID. Asterisk it creates a new JavaScript object, new item, with the collected data and the generated ID. Asterisk it pushes the new item to the data array. Asterisk it saves the updated data back to local storage. Asterisk it calls display data to refresh the display. Asterisk it clears the form fields. 9. Initial data setup and display asterisk. Asterisk the initialize data function is called on page load. It checks if there's any data in local storage. If not, it populates local storage with some initial data. This is just for demonstration purposes, so you have something to see when you first load the page. Asterisk display data is called on page load to initially display the data. How to run this code asterisk. 1. Save the HTML as index.html. 2. Save the JavaScript as script.js in the same directory as index.html. 3. Open index.html in your web browser. 4. You should see the initial data displayed. 5. You can add new data using the form. 6. You can delete data by clicking the delete buttons. Key improvements and considerations. Error handling. Add try, catch blocks around json.parse, and json.stringify, to handle potential errors if the data in local storage becomes corrupted. Data validation. Implement more robust validation of the data entered in the form. For example, you could check that the email address is in a valid format. Unique IDs. Use a more robust method for generating unique IDs, especially if you're dealing with a large amount of data or if multiple users might be adding data concurrently. Consider using a UUID library or having the server generate the IDs. User interface. Enhance the user interface with CSS styling and perhaps a JavaScript framework like React, Vue, or Angular for more complex interactions. Asynchronous operations. If you're fetching data from a server instead of using local storage, use asynchronous operations, fetch or XML HTTP request, to prevent the UI from freezing while waiting for the data. Security. Be mindful of security considerations, especially if you're dealing with sensitive data. Local storage is not a secure place to store confidential information. Scalability. Local storage is limited in size, typically around 5 to 10 megabytes per domain. For larger data sets, consider using a database on the server side. Accessibility. Make sure your application is accessible to users with disabilities by using appropriate HTML semantics, ARIA attributes, and keyboard navigation. Data persistence. Local storage persists between browser sessions. If data is sensitive, be extremely cautious about the kind of data stored here, especially in scenarios where the device might be shared. This comprehensive tutorial should give you a solid foundation for working with JSON data, HTML, jQuery, and local storage. Remember to adapt the code to your specific needs and to consider the security and scalability implications as you build more complex applications. Good luck.